ride this season. It's a team that we challenged all year to see if we were going to be the first Miami team to make it here to Charlotte. And we're here, so we're excited about that. And we're going to play a great team. We know that. Anybody who wins 42 of the last 45 games is pretty outstanding. Obviously, Clemson's won the national championship a year ago and last couple of ACCs. And, Dabo's just done a wonderful job. So we're thankful for the opportunity and the challenge. So with that, I'll open it up.
Questions, raise your hand. Let us get the mics to you. First question right here to our right.
Hey, Mark. Chris Heidel from Herberton Radio.
Yes.
Talk about Kager's development since September 29th when I last talked about him to you on the phone about his development, how he's getting.
I'm sorry, I didn't.
Kager,
Oh, Cager.
Yeah, Cager. How's this developing going since I talked to you?
Cager a year ago had an ACL injury, and so he was coming off of that, and I think it was taking him time to truly trust it. I think it's typical of a guy who comes off an injury like that. It takes a while to really believe, because especially when you're running full speed, changing direction, running full speed, stopping and jumping the ball, catch a ball and turning and all that, and so I think it took him a while to gain confidence, but right now I don't see any signs of him being concerned about that, and you can see him do his thing. He's done well.
Back left.
Coach Mike DePasquale from the Fox Affiliate Miami. Nice to see you.
Hey, Mike.
Coach Dabo Swinney just said moments ago that you're the real deal, and he's a Mark Richt fan. Okay. How do you feel you have changed the culture to be at this point where you're playing for the ACC championship game tomorrow night? And what I mean by change the culture of the program.
Well, first of all, I think Dabo's a real deal too. He's a great coach and a great person. I have no doubt in my mind I know he's doing things the right way. You can tell he's been recruiting for 8 years at a high level and watching, I know he's developing them physically and mentally and spiritually. And, I really admire the way he does his business too. I don't even know what the culture was, to be honest with you. When I got there, I was just more concerned about letting the guys know how we were going to go about our business. And so it wasn't like I went in there and said, hey, we got to change this, we got to change that. I was like, this is how we're going to do things. And, the first thing I had to do was hire really, really good coaches, guys that were competent and guys that were going to do it the way I wanted it done. And that's, coaching them and loving them but doing everything in a first-class manner, And we believe in family. We believe in togetherness and unity, and we just believe in good old-fashioned hard work. And so, I told them in one of the first meetings, how many guys want to be champion? They raise their hands. Everybody raised their hands. Well, how many's willing to work and earn the right to be a champion? And they, of course, they all raise their hand, but then that's when things get started. And I say, okay, well, if that's what you want, this is how we're going to do it. And so I think we've been real consistent with them. I think they know we're going to work hard. We're going to trust each other. We're going to go through adversity together. And then good things we felt like could happen, and they've been happening for us.
Back of the room.
Hey, Coach, this is David Hood with TigerNet.com. In looking ahead to this game, do you feel like Clemson has any advantage because they've had so many players that have played in this game the past couple of years?
Yeah, well, first of all, yeah, I mean, being used to winning at a high level, being used to being a champion, not only an ACC champion, but a national champion, playing in 2 national championship games in a row. I mean, it doesn't get any bigger than that. So yeah, they've all experienced that. Experience is a great teacher. We all know that, and we're just experiencing some things for the first time as a group of coaches and players. And so, it should be an advantage to have lived through those types of moments.
Again, to our left.
Coach Pete Ganity from WSPA TV in Spartanburg. Your thoughts watching Kelly Bryant now and really dialing in film this week, what you see, what it is about him that impresses you, that kind of thing.
Well, I've seen him more on TV than coach's tape because I'll spend more time looking at defense because I am spending time, game planning and coaching QBs and all that fun stuff. But He's a true dual threat. I mean, he's the number 2 rusher on the team, 637 yards or whatever it is. He's hitting 67% of his passes. He's 8th in America in that category. That's pretty exceptional. They're as balanced of an offense as you can have, and a lot of it has to do with his ability to run and throw exceptionally well. And when they play defense, the way they play defense, a lot of times you don't have to do something spectacular. You don't have to have spectacular numbers to be a championship quarterback. And I think he understands that part of it too.
Any other questions? Front row.
Coach Brandon O'Doy, football hotbed.
Yep.
Coach, a lot has been made with the injuries to Herndon, Richards, but guys like Dale and Lawrence Cager and even Langham has been huge at times. How have they responded this week, and what onus have they taken as far as their roles and what they have to do?
Well, you can't sit there and just watch him and go, oh, he's different now. I mean, I think they always work hard. I think they always practice with energy and a purpose, and but I think they know in their heart they're going to get more opportunities. I mean, that's just the way it is. And you look at losing Mark Walton, he's pretty good. Herndon, Amon Richards, those 3 guys really were the most dynamic players of their position on our team. And of course, we lost Mark early, and then we had Travis step up and play well, and DJ Dallas midseason gets moved to running back, just to try to create some depth there, and he'd have been playing a lot more receiver now, considering what's going on with the tight end and the receiver position as far as injuries. But we've won a lot of games without Amon being there the whole time. There's a few games he didn't play or didn't finish because he's been dealing with injuries the whole season. So I think the guys know that it's just a matter of not reinventing the system or anything like that. It's just making the plays that we ordinarily practice, and sometimes at an extraordinary time. But you're basically doing what we always do.
Front row.
Sorry, Coach Mike Cunio, CBS 4 in Miami. Coach, there's an article in the Miami Herald saying 25,000 Hurricane fans are traveling. I know you talked about the culture, about the players, but it seems like you've also turned around the culture with the fan base.
Our fans, I'll just brag on them for a minute because they have been phenomenal. I think there's 2 things I can tell when the crowd's doing great. One is when I'm on my headset and I can hear the crowd through my mouthpiece back into my ears. And that's when I know the crowd is really going crazy. Another way of knowing it is the fact that we've had to actually go to nonverbal cadence at home because they're cheering so hard, and sometimes they're cheering for the turnover chain. I'll be honest with you. We had a couple times they're cheering for the turnover chain, and we're on offense and we can't hear what's going on, so we're like, let's just go nonverbal. But there's actually a third way, and that's when you watch TV copy. If you watch a TV copy of a game and you can hear and feel the spirit of the fan base, it's exceptional. And I'm not shocked that they're coming in droves. And I was thinking about them today as we're getting on the plane. I'm like, you know what? The sacrifice our fans are making to come to this game. Flights, obviously, a little more expensive than driving. Some will probably drive it, take the trek driving, but there'll be some flying for sure. And there'll probably be some people buying some warm winter. Some winter gear for them, because I don't know if everybody down there has anything, to handle a cool day or a cool night. But anyway, I'm very proud of our fan base.
To our left.
Coach Trevor Groves, CUTigers.com. Jeff Scott told us the other day that you and your wife used to babysit him when he was a little kid.
Yes.
You were the quarterback coach at Florida State the last few years of Brad Scott's tenure there. Just curious if you could tell us a little bit about your recollections of young Jeff Scott and how much have you followed his development as a young coach?
Coach Scott and his wife Daryl, Brad Scott, talking about the dad. I coached with him for years. My first job at Florida State, he was there almost the entire time until he took the head job at South Carolina. And so I can't tell you, mostly at the bowl time is when we got to know them the most, because there's a lot of family time at the bowl time. A lot of the kids get together, wives and kids get together during the bowl time, and there's moments when the coaches aren't coaching or watching tape or something like that. We can spend time with them. But yeah, there's been a lot of great memories. And I was close with his dad, Brad. I mean, we were I was close with a lot of those guys on that staff, but I was very close with Brad, and our relationship stayed strong, through the years.
Second row to our right.
Coach Zach Al-Khatib, Sporting News. A lot of the talk this year surrounding your team has been the return of the U. Is that something your team kind of uses as a motivational factor? Do you address that at all, or do you just worry about?
I've never said to the team, let's prove to everybody the U is back. I've never done that. I've never said that. I've only said, like I said before, let's get to work. Let's play physical. Let's play fast. Let's play discipline. Let's do the things that you got to do on a daily basis to give you a chance to win. And then when adversity strikes, let's stick together, keep believing in each other, keep trusting, and see what happens. And that's really all I've been preaching to these guys.
Back left.
Coach Mike again from Miami. You mentioned that when the chain comes out, there's just ruckus and noise. Ever since it came out during the first game against Bethune-Cookman, it has taken on a life of its own. Yeah. Do you believe, and Manny said about a week ago, there is a psychological effect when the other team sees that chain. Do you believe there is a psychological effect?
I don't know. I really don't know for sure. But I know this. If we were 5-5, and I've said this many times, if we were 5-5 and had 5 turnovers, then people would be making fun of the thing, But now, we're winning. We lead the nation in turnover ratio, and it is a ratio. We've got a lot of takeaways, no doubt, but we haven't given it away a lot. And so we're number 1 in America there, and that's big. But it has, with the rise of our team as far as the winning record and winning a Virginia Tech game on national TV at 8 o'clock, winning a Notre Dame game, primetime 8 o'clock in our stadium, and everybody's seeing all the things that come with it. The chain has been a huge part of it. And the thing about the turnover chain is that it is Miami. It's Miami. It's Cuban Link. It's got the big U and all the gems and sparkles and all that kind of thing. I mean, that's kind of how we roll down here in Miami. And the other thing though that I love about it is it's pure fun. I mean, anytime a guy got a turnover, the only thing he did bad is try to take his helmet off on the way to the sideline because he wants to put the chain on. I mean, I don't see anybody taunting the guy. I don't see anybody waving at anybody. I see him running to the bench and celebrating a moment with his teammates and the fan base, and that's all we're doing. And I want them to have fun. I want to celebrate good things, and it's been awesome.
To our right again, second row.
Hey, Mark, what was the mood like at practice this week after the tough loss in Pittsburgh?
Well, Sunday night we started out great. Having a day off to just kind of give everybody a moment to grieve and mourn and all that kind of stuff, but also begin to think about what could be and what's about to happen. It didn't take long to get everybody back online, ready to go. Now, if we'd have practiced, if we'd have played on a Saturday and practiced the very next day, it'd probably have been a little somber, be my guess. But when you let 48 hours pass and you already start looking at film of the next opponent and know what we're playing for, it didn't take long to get everybody juiced up, ready to practice.
Anyone else?
I think it's gotten cooler since we got in there.
Right on cue, Matt Porter, Palm Beach Post. I have to ask you for your reaction to the news about Jimbo. Obviously, you guys went head-to-head and probably expected to coach against him for a while. Yeah,
I would have thought so. I did an event with the governor asked Coach McElwain and Coach Fisher and myself to come for a summit on had something to do with jobs, I think, in the state. I can't remember exactly what it was. But we were all there, and you'd have thought we'd be doing things like that for years to come, and it just hadn't turned out that way. But I've been through it, so I know job changes can happen, and they happen for different reasons. And I'm not going to get in anybody's business, but certainly I've heard what's going on, but I haven't focused on it at all because I'm trying to get ready and try to get a first down or two,
Matt Marshall, the Orlando Sentinel. When you took over the program, did you have in your mind kind of like a calendar of when you wanted things to kind of happen, like when you felt like this team would be ready maybe to compete for the ACC championship? And if so, do you feel like you're ahead of schedule, or do you guys feel like you're ready?
Everybody keeps asking me that. And I go back to the answer I had before, that I think there's a process of how you get to where you want to go, and it starts with the administration, you know. Got Blake James and Jen Strawley here, and them wanting the program to be great and being, you know, helpful and trying to get everything done that I feel like we need to get done to get where we're going. You know, you got to hire great staff. You got to recruit. You got to recruit great players, but you got to be able to develop them once they get there. You got to feed them a certain way. You got to make sure your strength and conditioning program is right, and you got to make sure that the coaches themselves can teach them the fundamentals that they need to be taught. And so it takes time and cycles of recruiting, you know, years of recruiting to get where Clemson is right now. I mean, when you look at Clemson on tape, you're like, wow, look at these guys, you know. But you could tell they've been doing it for a while, and they've been not only recruiting well, but they've been developing well for a while now. And for the most part, Dabo's kept his staff together too, and I think that's important. So if you can do that year after year after year at a place like Miami, you know, we can hope to be where we're at now on a pretty consistent basis. Or, you know, you're not going to win every year, but you know, you feel like you're going to be right in there every single year. And you know, this, as far as a timetable, all I can tell you is our plan was to become the best we could be and win every game we play. I mean, when we line up, we don't say, man, well, we think we'll win this one, but I don't know if we win that one. I mean, we go into every game believing we can win, and thankfully we won the close games this year, where last year we didn't.
Front row. Coach, I think it was after the Notre Dame game, you said you had compiled a video of all the experts picking against Miami and showed it to your players.
Well, I didn't have to, but yeah, and some people took offense to that. I wasn't. All I was doing was, we just showed video of people's opinion that they didn't think we could win and why they didn't think we could win. And, you know, I thought it got, I don't think anybody was trying to hurt anybody's feelings, but it got our guys' attention, and I think it challenged them.
Anything planned for this week?
I don't have anything special. I haven't, you know, what happened to me, I think it was midweek, late week. Some of them, you know, I'm not on the phone looking at Twitter all the time or looking at the social media all the time, but I've got young coaches around me that they're like the players. They're looking at it, you know. They see what's going on. Like, hey, Coach, you see this? You see that? You know, and so that's what happened that week. I'm like, so I watched a couple of those. I go, well, maybe we could show it to the boys and see if it'll fire them up. So, but getting fired up lasts about 2 or 3 series, and then it settles into a game, and it settles into the habits you've created, you know, throughout the season, throughout the week.
Front row, in front of you.
Coach, I was just curious on Malik. From the beginning of the season, when there was, you know, this big quarterback competition, no one had any idea, maybe you did, but on the outside, we didn't know who was going to be the starter, to winning all his games but one.
Right.
What has he done? I mean, who is he? Can you just take us behind the
Malik, Malik's very smart. He understands football. He can come off the field or even after a rep in practice and just tell in detail what he saw. Because I've always learned as a quarterback's coach to always ask him, you know, why did you do what you did, whether it was good or bad. And if they can tell you why they did what they did, it's a good sign. Sometimes I say he's doing the right thing for the right reasons. You know, sometimes a guy do the right thing because he got lucky. You know what I mean? So, but he can recall what happened. And even like if you're watching film the next day from the day before, I said, what'd you see? What'd you think? Why'd you do what you did? Because we could see the film from up in the sky, you know. But we're not standing in that pocket with all them bodies flying around. We're not seeing exactly what he's seeing. And so he's very good in that way. He's got plenty of arm strength to throw any ball that you could ask a guy to throw. And then he got some wheels. He's not the most prolific runner in America, but he's been an effective runner. And without his running ability, I don't think we're here today. To go along with his ability to think and process and throw, we have we've certainly put in some quarterback run game for him throughout the season that has made a big difference for us. And so, I mean, those are the things that helped him win the job. And I'm really, really proud of him because I wasn't convinced he was going to be the guy going into camp. I can tell you that.
Take two more. First one to our left, and then we'll front row.
Coach Marcel Louis-Jacques Anderson, the Independent Mail. How have you seen Malik respond mentally after you took him out of the game late against Pittsburgh?
Right. Well, first of all, after one series, he's like, Coach, can I go back in there and lead the team? So I put him back in. And I probably would have put him back in anyway, but I liked his attitude. He didn't go on the bench and pout. He stayed up. He loves Evan Sheriffs. He loves his teammates. He was trying to help him, and he wanted to win. He was struggling hitting his target. If Evan hit his target, I think he'd have been happy if we'd have won the game. That's the kind of person he is. He's a great kid. He's got a great heart. And then, but he's like, can I go back in? I was like, yeah, you can go back in. And then, so he went back in, and we had success when he went back in. And but I told him at the end of the game, I said, look, you're still the guy. There's not going to be any controversy. You were just struggling for the moment, hitting your target. And so that's why I made the change. But then I wanted to watch him because you get everybody else's opinion. You go home, you watch social media, you might talk to family, who knows what happens between the time I saw him until I saw him again. I saw him Friday, and then I saw him again Sunday night, so I just kept a close eye on him, and I felt like his body language didn't change, his attitude didn't change. We were right back to work, and then even Evan Sheriffs, we talked about it. Evan could have been maybe in the tank a little bit, like, oh, Coach, you gave me one series, and that's it. I mean, I didn't feel that from him. I felt like, Coach, I'm here to help the team win any way I can, and that's how he's been the whole season.
Last question, first row.
Susan Miller-Degnan, Miami Herald.
Hey, Susan.
Mark, you've played so many games in a row after the hurricane hit without a break.
Right.
And now, after this game, you're going to have a pretty long break.
Right.
Is that a good thing as far as the coach goes? And is the answer dependent on whether you win or lose?
Well, here's what's going to happen. When that game's over, we're either going to be in the locker room cheering and going crazy, excited, or we're going to be in the tank, one of the two. Then the next day, everybody's going on the road recruiting. Bam. I mean, won't come back till the next weekend. And we can go do it again for another week at least. The second weekend, we have maybe 15, 20 kids coming on a visit, a bunch of our commitments that are going to be mid-year enrollees and all that. I mean, you go to the next phase so fast it'll make your head spin. You know what? I think it's going to be good for the players to get a break, finish up academics. We'll do some running and lifting because you could actually get a little strength back and start getting your body feeling good again and fresh and all that. And I'll say this will be the last thing I'll say. When it comes to bowl preparation, whether it's playoffs, bowl, whatever it is, my focus has always been to do what we need to do to win the game, not try to create spring ball. Some people say, well, I'll take my young guys and give them rep and work, and it'll be like a spring ball for them. And we don't do that. We do whatever we think we need to do to help win the game. And quite frankly, all our young guys are playing because we don't have a lot of depth. But I think it'll be good for those players to get a little break. All right, thank you all.
Thank you.